Are there any other areas where insurers could look to improve their capability? I think the survey highlighted data and data science being a key theme, but how else could insurers look at that?
You mean in terms of building other capability, or how they approach building data and data science capability?
I think how they approach building data and data science capability, firstly.
And first of all, it is exciting to see the uptick and role of data science in the life insurance industry. And I think, just if I compare it to other markets we operate in, the UK is definitely quite advanced. But what I see is many companies are tackling building data science capability by straight resource questions. So let's go out and hire as many data scientists as we can. Now, that is a useful approach in terms of building internal capability, but there's a number of challenges with it. So one, it's a scarce resource and might get scarcer. And two is it really doing it smarter? So I think one of the challenges that life insurers need to think about with their data science capability is it's all very well to do an insights exercise, and I think there are some great examples of it, but how do they make that a repeatable process? Because once you've done it once and it's a model that works, how do you turn that into a repeatable process so it's not so resource and time intensive? And I think that's some of the considerations for life insurers when they're building out this data science capability, is how do you make it sustainable and lower cost in the long term? Because like everything, there'll be a margin squeeze at some point of saying, well, how do we do this in the most streamlined, efficient way?
So the traditional approach is to get some student actuaries and an Excel spreadsheet, right, and price it that way. I kind of think that we need to move on past that. But I mean, I do have an existential question whether the actual profession, what its role should be, and whether or not you move to much more of a model where you have limited actuarial input and a lot of data science input. And then that sort of ties into something we may touch on later, which is the role of Excel in this, which that firms are heavily reliant on Excel. But I do think, stepping back about the data science thing, I think there is a point that the traditional actuarial training, I think the better firms might be thinking beyond that. I think by that I mean, if you look at some of the rating factors, some of the answers in the survey, they are the traditional life actuarial rating factors. And I do think the better firms will be thinking more creatively and beyond that. And to do that, they'll probably need people who aren't actuaries, or who are some hybrid between the actuarial specialism and data science.
Yeah, interestingly, I know of one organisation where, and it's one of the first I've seen, where the pricing function is weighted towards data scientists, not actuaries. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's actually evidence of that shift potentially starting to happen.
I mean, I think there's probably a few different dimensions to it. So I think I know some of the actual professions pushing quite hard, and I guess I've seen lots of examples in practice of actuaries cross-training into data science, and I think that's a trend we'll see accelerate. I think that probably has to also be complemented by bringing in some sort of deep specialist skills to kind of complement that. And then also thinking about how do you accelerate that through technology, and making the right technological choices. And obviously there are kind of lots of great tools out there in terms of R and Python and various others, but those in themselves won't necessarily solve all the problems. I think it goes back to the point you made, Shelley, about it's about how do you make this repeatable and sustainable and embedded in the business. So it's not just about some of those toolings, it's about how you embed those technologies broadly across the business, thinking about the sort of the end-to-end chain, from how do you store and manage data as an organization through to then how do you utilize it and manage it for day-to-day use within the business to support the analytics that are going to drive things like pricing.
That's triggered a thought for me, just in terms of data science. The data science, you can quite rightly view it as a mathematical competency. But increasingly what we're seeing is it's an engineering competency, and you need both, because you can't do the engineering effectively unless you understand the mathematical basis. But equally, if you've got all the mathematics and the understanding of what the data science models, it'll be very difficult to put these tools into practice effectively without engineering skills. And I think the engineering skill set sometimes gets lost in the process of understanding actually what does it take to use these tools in a scalable, repeatable way.